Let's get
G'day, everybody. Welcome back to Sketch Biz. I have a extremely amazing guest with me today, which I've been so looking forward to interviewing because he's just smashing goals at the moment. Welcome, Louis Joyce. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much. I'm glad we could tee this up.
We've been trying to tee up a time to get this to get together.
It's tricky, isn't it? It's
Anyway, take two. We are technical difficulties, which is fine. It happens. We'll just jump in like we just never even had that happen. Yes, welcome to Sketch Biz. It was a little bit chaotic here, just like my life. So, Louis, welcome. Introduce yourself, what you've done, and how you started in this crazy world that is comics.
Yeah, good question. So yeah, Louis Joyce. I am an illustrator and a cartoonist, and I've done. Right now, I'm working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Last year, I did Godzilla Skate or Die, which was a Godzilla series for IDW. Yes, that I wrote and illustrated. That takes place in Australia, in my local town. Before that, I did books. I did a book called Hat Haven, which was like a fantasy adventure series with writer Norm Harper. That was published by Oni.
We've again, we're fine. We're all good. We're rolling with the punches. We're going to go down to a single camera, so we're going to just chop out our faces and just go straight to drawing once we finish. So, yeah, if you want to, you did your Godzilla and then your Ninja Turtles, and you're keeping busy with life. You are based in Wollongong, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so another local Aussie talent. After doing this podcast, I keep finding a lot more Australian talent that's just like so prominent in the comic industry these days, which is it's really awesome to see. So
yeah, I was at Scamp Comics Festival in Sydney yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So Scamp is like, there's so many great comic conventions and festivals in Australia, but there's a kind of a new, there's been comic and pop culture conventions for so long, but there's kind of a new wave of like comic festivals happening, which is really cool. Paper Cuts, obviously in Adelaide, really incredible. I did that for the first time this year, and it was my favorite comic show
really
ever.
Good things about it.
PCAF, you're in Perth, right? Yeah, so PCAF, obviously that's every year that's been on. It's one that I wish I could get over to, and I still really do plan to one of these years. And I hear so much great stuff about it. Like Scamp is like the Sydney show that is chasing that kind of model, that kind of thing, and they're doing a great job of it. It's only the second year that it's happened, so it's still early days and establishing itself. But it's run by a really great group of people, cartoonists and Siobhan, who runs Cockatoo Comics. And so really, really cool and just really great to be there. And there was a whole bunch of people from interstate that came to table at the market. Some people from Perth, some people from Adelaide and Melbourne, and all around the joint. And it was just, there was so much good work, like so many good comics, which is so invigorating for me. I think I love seeing it. I love just walking around and flipping through the books, and it's not always good for the wallet because
it's great for collection.
Yeah, there's so much stuff in there, but it's really cool. And one thing I've noticed at like some of the bigger conventions, and this has just kind of happened naturally as they have shifted to a more of a pop culture-y type thing. When I first started doing them, 10 years ago, there was a lot more comics-based stuff. And as the years have progressed, there's a lot less like original Australian comics at comic conventions, the bigger ones, Supernova and Oz Comic Con. And part of that is just how expensive it is to have a table. But it also, that's always been like, a little bit of like, oh, where are the comics? I want to, like, there's so much great art, but I really want to see comics. And Paper Cuts, Scamp, PCAF, Other Worlds Zine Fair, all these great smaller shows are where it's at, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see. I feel like we've all taken a bit of ownership on the fact that the bigger conventions aren't really showcasing comics in itself, even though that's where everything's come from, right? So yeah, we're just sort of taking the reins on that one and full steam ahead, being able to showcase our own stuff, how we want it, when we want it, which is awesome. So we're going to be drawing today. And you've got yourself a little sketch cover, and of course, it's going to be the Turtles one. So it should be cool.
Yes, I'm overdue on this sketch cover, so I thought I'd try and get it done today. But I get a bit nervous. I was saying to you before, I get a bit nervous with sketch covers. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm not a tattooist, but like people always ask me, oh, why don't you tattoo and yada yada. I was like, that's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. What if I make a mistake?
Yeah,
I feel that way a little bit
one
about
chance.
sketch cover.
One chance. It's not skin, but it's still one chance. So yeah, I totally get it. As fun as they can be, and also they've done so much better with the sketch covers. I used to get ones that the paper was just slimy and it's terrible.
Yeah,
so
this one seems good.
Yeah,
but also I've realized that I'm too like precious, or like I'm too critical of my own stuff. Like on other artists' work, I love seeing mistakes and like.
But we have to be perfect.
Smudge and whiteout and paste ups, and I love seeing all that stuff on other people's work. But I always, to my own work, I put this like thing of like, oh, if that's there, it's not like it means I haven't done it correctly the first time, which
I feel that
silly.
To my core, 100%. So
I'm trying to be less precious.
Good. Yeah. Well, there's always fun in experimenting and showcasing that, and the feedback that I've gotten from this show is that people love seeing the process. So, go with the flow. Okay, and I'm going to be drawing Krang. I'm going to do full Krang, not just Krang himself. I'm going to do robot Krang.
Any particular era of Krang? Because there's like
TV,
multiple...
like 90s TV Krang.
Classic Krang.
Yeah, classic Krang. Yeah,
nice.
That is the best.
Awesome. All right,
anyway,
I'm going to switch my...
Perfect.
See, there's the cover.
Ta-da!
Which I started penciling because I wasn't confident in my multitasking ability.
That's totally fine though, because I've done that. When I went and joined the boys on the ink pop one, I had to pencil it beforehand. I was like, that's too much pressure. I can't do that.
That was a great episode. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that they do it. It's a really cool show, and it's cool all the stuff they've got on. But I've really been enjoying this show, like
a little
like
bit
your
different.
show.
I was
really
inspired by them, obviously, because the community that they created, which is great, and they also push a lot of that awareness around creating and making the industry back to what we love and what we want to showcase and stuff. So they've really created this big movement there, which they should be super, super proud of, I reckon.
Yeah, they do great stuff. Jim's work, I've been a huge fan of forever. So it's nice to hear, and not even just his work, like the musical. He's been a big music inspiration of mine as well. So, that Skull Funk Radio and all that, like, dating back to, the 40-ounce comics and him having like little, he'd write like unofficial soundtrack for stuff.
Yeah.
In the corner, and I'd like to look at that and then hunt down who the artists were, and it's cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. So you're keeping obviously busy with your turtle work. And look, I'm not going to lie, getting onto turtles is like, that's pretty big. And obviously seems like it was a bit of a childhood dream for yourself. What was it like getting that sort of email or call, or tell us a bit more about how that came about?
Yeah, it was cool. Like, so I'd done Godzilla, Skate or Die, and after that, I started thinking about what I would love to do next, and how I could try and make that happen. And I'd just, you can't help but think about like, oh, what if I got a chance to work on this thing or that thing, and what would I do? And having an editor at IDW, who was Jake on Godzilla, I kind of just hit him up and I said, hey, I've got this idea that I've been playing around with for Turtles. Would you like be happy to put me in touch with the editors there so I can, see if there's any interest? And totally cool if not. So I did that, and I kind of pitched this simple just a paragraph outline for like my a turtle thing that I would write and draw. And they liked the idea, but it didn't fit at the moment. But then the editor, Ellen, was also like, we're also doing this other turtles thing that you could be a really good fit for, and would you be interested? And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, like,
I would.
yeah.
And so this was the Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the spin-off of the current kind of iteration, Mutant Mayhem, and then the cartoon that they're doing. And so, yeah, I did like a style test for that. They just got me to draw up a big, drawing of the turtles and to see if it would fit. And I already kind of felt that, it would be a good fit, like based on the work I'd done. And I think they felt that too, based on the work I'd done in Godzilla, Skate or Die, and the aesthetic of the Mutant Mayhem and then the cartoon. It felt very natural. So yeah, they were happy with what I did, and it's just been going since then, really.
And bam, boom, you're already onto it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Totally. I don't think, I don't think that I love the Turtles. That second movie was a childhood touchstone of mine, Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah. God, yeah, I love it. Secret of the Ooze is my favorite.
It's so good. And, I've got like my mum, when I told my mum, she sent me a photo of like my 4th birthday, and there's like I've got like a Leonardo cake and like plastic swords next to me and stuff. So, Turtles is like one of those things that have just been around since I was a little kid. So there's this immense pressure.
Yeah. I mean, would that be more, would you say more pressure on yourself, like your childhood self, or is it more pressure, you just want to do it justice because it means so much to you?
It's a bit of both. Like, I think also being like, I didn't start out with the Mirage stuff, but being a comics fan and a part of the culture, I love the Turtles, and I understand, as much as I love the movies, and that was the main thing, I understand that comics is where Turtles comes from, and it is like this amazing example of an independent, concept by a bunch of cartoonists that took the world by storm. It is like they are the finest example probably of independent comics making it big.
Success. Yeah.
So the Turtles are so linked to comics, and this iteration, and every cartoon iteration kind of gets their own Turtle spin-off. John Somariva, fellow Aussie, has done incredible work, and a lot of it is related to that 2012 series version of the Turtles, which is really amazing. So I think I definitely felt like, I'm getting to bring this new version of the Turtles to the comic page for the first time. I don't think they've really appeared in comics yet. And so that feels like big. Do you know what I mean?
That was your baby.
And really cool, really, really cool. So it's definitely, I told myself, like, I Godzilla Skate or Die was such a big emotional journey because I was writing and drawing. And as I said, it's a story that's set in my local town and inspired by like skaters I know and people I know and a community that I'm a part of. So I felt this great, great pressure with that book. And so the whole creation and release and everything in it was this big emotional journey. I told myself that Turtles would be like, I'm just drawing, I get to collaborate. I get to just focus on the drawing and creating amazing comic pages, and it doesn't have to be as much pressure. But I still couldn't help but feel pressure about it.
Well, being such a, like you said, it's even if someone doesn't know comics, right? They know the Turtles. Like, they just have such a presence in this world. And like, can you imagine like Kevin or Peter just like thinking of, like, we did this, like this, we've given this to the world to be able to create such joy and creating an IP that everybody knows. So yeah, I totally get the pressure of wanting to make sure that, not that you'd ever please everybody, but it more about knowing that you did the best that you could,
Yeah. It's like a chance to contribute to this thing that has this great legacy. I think, like, on that note, like Peter and Kevin, they could have been like super precious with it as well, but they from such an early point on, they weren't. They brought in cartoonists that they love and artists that they love and let them run wild with the turtles. And I think that's
Which
such a
is
great,
good. Is it like, and isn't that the core of comics, right? It's just like having fun, you know?
yes.
And I think a lot of people lose sight of that a bit too easily these days. And it's all about the fun and the joy, and I like that is reflected so much in your work, because you can see it in your work. It's got so much energy, so much life, so much like not like good chaos. Does that make sense? Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, like is that I mean, I can see a lot of influences in your work, but is that sort of what you always enjoy? I would think, like, do you choose drawing like that, or did it feel more like a natural progression for you to just, let it just flow out like that?
I really love like pictures that feel like they're moving, um, and like, or that have an energy. And sometimes that is like literal movement, and like dynamic, growing up reading superhero comics, dynamic movement and all of these really cool things, but also just like pictures that feel alive, that the fact
Hmm.
that we can draw a line, on a page and it can have a sense of a dancer or whatever it is. It's like, it's really cool. And it's something that I'm really attracted to. And I think, growing up, I always credit like Lone Wolf and Cub. I read a lot of Lone Wolf and Cub at a pretty young age. And I think
Hmm.
it's inspired a lot of my idea of what is like a comic storytelling. And in that, there's just this lovely sense of movement in every panel, even the silent, quiet moments. And so I think I'm always just kind of chasing that. And I've always been attracted to artists that have that sense of energy in their work. And um, so it's definitely something I'm going for. And the more that my work progresses, like the skating thing is a huge influence as well.
Yeah,
I
because
went
I
through a
see some of
big,
your videos that you pop up if you go into the park and stuff, which is
yeah,
like cool. It's good that you live and breathe the stuff that you want to create and draw, which is
yeah,
probably quite beneficial, I would say.
totally. Like I'm definitely like Godzilla Skate or Die wouldn't exist without me getting back into skating, like I used to do it as a teenager, but I got back into it, around 5 years ago or so as an adult and as a place to go and take my kids and for us to just cruise around and have fun. It was really great, but it immediately fed back into my artwork as well. So I started drawing rollerblading drawings. So I have like, tens, dozens of or hundreds of rollerblading drawings that I've done in the years since. And you can track a huge stylistic shift in my work pre to post that, you know?
Yeah. And do you
Um,
feel like that's because you understood a lot more about the actual physical movement itself, or just being able to have that freedom and enjoy yourself too? I don't know. I feel like the energy is transferable, right?
yes, absolutely. Being a lot of those drawings that I would do, rollerblading things were like, I can't do this trick yet. I'm going
Mm,
to draw a picture of someone doing this trick. And the whole time I'm drawing it, I'm
the mechanics of
visualizing
it.
how I would like how my body needs to move, how it needs to sit, how I need to twist or turn or whatever it is, to try and do that trick. And it translates into the drawings. And also the doing those drawings allows me a space to just explore and really
Yeah.
push proportions and shapes and color and whatever it is that I'm kind of messing around with. And in a low stakes kind of space where it doesn't matter if it doesn't have to fit a brief or anything like that. It's just me having fun. I
Yes.
think that's a really
Yeah.
valuable part of that's the drawing I would do as a kid. That's why I also it started.
That's it.
So yeah, that space I think has been hugely beneficial for me and my kind of art making journey.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I do tell people. And like, did you study animation or no?
No,
No.
I
Okay.
did
A lot of
study.
people with that mindset have that sort of like animation background of, being able
I
to
did
animate.
study 3D animation for a little while, but I bounced off it because there wasn't enough drawing involved at that time. It was like
Yeah.
very
It's all computer based.
model, pixels based, all that. Um, yeah. So, and actually listening to some of your earlier episodes. I also used to work at the screen printers for
Hey, there you go.
doing
And
color
that's,
sets.
well, I suppose
Which is,
because you've got your Rizzo prints, right? Or Rizzo, yeah,
yes,
it is however people want to say it, which is an art form in itself. So that's
yes.
cool to see that you're keeping that fresh as well with all your art prints too, which I think is quite unique.
Yeah, I would love to do screen printing stuff. It's always been like, either garments or even just prints. But yeah, it's just it's such an expensive, or you can
Yeah,
get
if
a
you want to do it
4-color
properly,
carousel or something, but
yeah,
you need
yeah,
space and time.
yeah. We had an auto machine. It was a eight arm, 6 arm, 8 arm auto machine. It was all like air compression and stuff. So like that thing would just go constantly, but the setting up of it is just, yeah, especially if you've got like a 4-color or 5-color print that needs to overlap and line up with the crosshairs. Like that's
Yeah.
just a whole new world.
Yeah. So similarly, the place I worked at was mainly like we would do like large runs of corporate tees, but we did a bunch of music festival stuff as well. So it would be like 8 colors, simulating like full color print. And so I would be doing color sets on that. And never really, like, it was always trial, like I got the hang of it a bit, but it's such a hard thing to do. And but I credit the years that I worked there for a lot of how I think about and use color in my
Yeah.
or my relationship with color in my work now. Like
Or
hugely
even like
beneficial.
design as well, like how it sits and how you can utilize the like negative space type thing. Like that was the biggest transferable skill that I learned was the negative space part.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny. And you've had a couple of people on the show, right, who were like
A
have worked in
couple that have
screen
done
printers.
screen printing, but more like talking about the steps for doing like your halftone CMYK type thing, which is oh god, it's super tricky, super tricky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. So we're going back to what you were saying about going out and doing skating and stuff and understanding the actual fundamentals of the movement, which is one of the biggest things I always recommend to people to actually understand. Do you ever film yourself and then just have a look through so you can get the right reference?
For comics work,
Just for anything really.
I do film, like I post a lot of skating clips. And I like that. It's a nice kind of visual log of my skills progressing very, very slowly. I'm not an amazing skater by any standards, but
Mm.
but it's still a nice thing. And I do look at those, I do often look at those videos and to kind of critique my own style when it comes to skating. And sometimes I'll do a trick and I'll be like, oh, that felt really low and smooth and locked in, and then I'll watch the video and it's not
You're
anywhere
like, I
near
was
as
clunky as
low as
hell.
I thought or locked in. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like having that kind of log and looking back on it. And certainly for when I'm doing a lot of my skating stuff, like I'll watch a lot of skating videos and
Yeah. Frame by
sometimes
frame.
I'll literally reference tricks that pro skaters are doing.
Mm.
Um
Pull out Tony Hawk off on PlayStation or whatever we had him on.
yeah, that was huge.
That's a
Huge
great
for
game.
me.
Number 2, was it? That was the best one. I think it was anyway.
Yes, I loved
Yeah.
that game.
I always tell people constantly, like, you should look. I went through my phone the other day because I was running out of storage, but just looking at all the really horrendous photos of myself, just trying to like awkwardly get the right angle of a hand or something like that, because no
Yes.
matter how many bloody apps or websites you can get for references, Pinterest, whatever, sometimes it's not completely right, and my brain gets like hell bent on finding the perfect shot, and I have to create it myself. So. Yeah, nothing wrong with making yourself look like a noodle just so you can get
No,
the right reference.
I always, so I do a bit of teaching as well. Like I'll go into libraries and schools and stuff and run like creative drawing workshops
Yeah.
or comic making, zine making workshops, stuff like that. And I will often get the kids to get up and like, we'll do like create your own character or create your own kaiju. And I'll
Yeah.
like get them up out of their seat and I'll be like, act out like your character,
Yeah.
act out your
How would they
kaiju, get a
move?
feel for how they move, and that'll translate into a better kind of
Yeah.
drawing. And even if it's not a better drawing, it's a better idea of that character in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, sometimes my kids or my wife will walk past the office and I'll be in some weird pose
You're like
or
Spider-Maning
doing
on
some
top of
weird
your
thing.
like your friggin' your computer chair, just like, never
Yes.
mind. Move
Yeah.
on,
So,
please.
or I'll call them in and be like, I'll be like, hey, come here, come here. I need you to stand like this. And you know, my son will be like, what? And then they'll do it. And, and then I'll come around later and I'll be like, oh, can I see the drawing that you did that was related to it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So it's
cool.
reference is good, certainly. And,
And
um,
I reckon understanding the fundamentals is probably going to be
yeah,
your
I
winner.
think there's a good balance in there between like one other thing that's happened as my work has gotten more stylized. I'm embracing like the weirdness of my work or kind of embracing the areas where stuff is not correct or
Yeah,
not like, you know, anatomically correct, but there's something in the shape or the
the energy.
of it that is more pleasing to me. Um, and so I'm trying to follow that rabbit, you know, follow the rabbit of that to
I
wherever it leads.
can't remember who I was listening to. It was a couple of days ago. It was last week when I was listening to a podcast, and someone was saying like I am more focused on making sure that it's telling the right story for the panel or whatever, opposed to making it look anatomically correct or if the buildings are being warped or bent a little bit. Like I think people get a little bit stuck on making sure that everything looks how it's meant to be in real life. You got to remember your buildings. Like I'm really bad with it. Like I want to make sure that all my buildings and cityscapes and landscapes and stuff all look quite right. That's why I prefer drawing organic stuff compared to industrial stuff. But like those things also contribute to the story. So if you need even more movement, like bend the skyscrapers or the road, make it look like it's all wobbly. Like that's I feel like is more beneficial to telling your panel opposed to making sure that it looks perfect. And also you're never gonna get that unless you're using like a 3D software or something, you know?
Yeah, and I mean there are people who can just seem to do it
Yeah.
from without any of that shit, which is crazy. And there is probably like, you know, hours and hours of research behind that, but it's just not where my priorities
Mm.
are in what I'm drawing these days, and that's okay. Um, but you're right. Story, like a story or emotion, some kind of feeling is the most important part. You know, you want it to be clear in what it's trying to convey, and you want it to feel the right way, and that's got to come first before perfect 3-point perspective or whatever.
That's it, 100%. Hmm. And I always tell people the biggest thing that I learned. I used to be like a little drama kid, of course I was, in school. We even in our animation class, we actually had to study nonverbal communication. So like how do you tell emotions or a character development through just their body language? And I see that overlooked by a lot of artists, not understanding that like just how important that is. Like how they walk, how they're going to tell their emotions simply by their posture or how they're sitting or how they're holding their head, shoulders back, because I think the biggest thing, like for reference wise, a character Shaggy, like if you think about how does Shaggy walk, just
Mm.
by his walk, you know what kind of character he is, um, and that is just incredibly important when you're trying to really emphasize like what someone is like in your character development.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, animation is so good for that. Like I love comics and I love animation, and it's close comics wins out, but I do think that animation is so beneficial to analyze, you know, animation artists and films and bring that into your comics work because it will
Definitely.
only improve it.
So teaching wise, I used to teach more, a broader range of things. So like art in terms of like painting and textiles and stuff like that. You getting into teaching, how did that come about? And was that something that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, I just started running workshops at libraries or as part of comic festivals.
Mhm.
And I've always enjoyed working with kids. Um, and so I think it was just I think it's a natural progression as well for like someone like a freelance
Yeah.
cartoonist or comic artist or illustrator in that, it can become a bit more of a scheduled, dependable income, or a bit more structured. You book in advance, you have these things set out, and so it's a really good kind of add on to that. And but I also just find it really, especially working with like younger kids, like primary age kids, where there are very little inhibitions. That's just like pure
Mm.
creative joy. It's very inspiring to me. Like it's fun. They're full of enthusiasm, because I've done a bunch of teaching at like Wollongong Uni and other like tertiary education places, and that's really good too. But also, like, the older the students get, the more kind of self aware or yeah, or like self conscious, even, like,
Oh, yeah,
you know
yeah. I get that.
teenagers. It's hard to get. It can be hard to
It's a
get
lot of
them
pressure.
excited, get them,
Yeah.
you know. So but it has its value too. Like, teaching in uni was great because it made me analyze my own workflow in a way that so much of what I do is instinctual,
Mhm.
or I've just learnt it by doing, and I never had to think about it too much. And
Mhm.
teaching forces you to actually think about it and engage with, like, your choices. Why do I do this? Why do I do that? And that's really beneficial as well for my kind of thing. So I love doing it. And I haven't been doing as much with since Godzilla and the Turtles thing, just because they are so time consuming. But yeah, it's really fun and definitely something I will continue to keep doing. Uh,
That's it. Did you have much of that sort of support when, because by the sounds of it, you kind of knew what you wanted to do growing up. Did you find that there was a lot of support for people wanting to go down this path for you when you were younger? Or is that, something that you just wanted to provide for young kiddos as well?
well, I don't think I knew what I wanted to do. Like,
No?
I definitely have loved comics since I was a kid, but I don't reckon I ever thought I would be an actual comic artist.
Mm.
Because I've always loved drawing, but there was always people that were, I considered, better at drawing than me in school, in high school. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like the one. There was other kids where everyone was like, "Whoa, that looks like so realistic," or
Your
"Look at that
apology,
thing they've
yeah.
done," or we were all into graph, and there was people that were better at graffitiing than me, and all of this
Mm.
stuff. And so it's just something I love doing, and I just kept doing because I found some kind of joy in it. But it wasn't, as I said, I worked in at a screen printing place. I worked in graphic design, and I did that for years. And so it was kind of by like working in those areas that I kind of knew it's not what I want to be doing. Like, I want more drawing based stuff in what I'm doing. And it was my wife actually who found an illustration course at Enmore Design Center, a 2-year course there. And she found that, and she was like, "Well, why don't you keep talking about the idea of illustration?" I think I was trying to do, like, I had like an exhibition of ink drawings that I did years and years ago. And so I was flirting with, like, art, being an artist and being an illustrator, and I
Mhm.
loved the idea of making comics, and I made zines, but I don't think I ever thought that I would fully get there. Um, but doing this illustration course at Enmore was really, really good. And that kind of is where my skills progressed from just being a hobbyist to being able to work to a brief and achieve a level of quality that could that I could sell myself professionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And then once that happened, it was like I started engaging with the Australian comics community, and so just started making comics in my spare time, and collaborating with people like Ryan Lindsay, and we did like a Killaroo story together years ago.
Yeah, nice. I didn't
And
know
that
you were a
that
Killaroo kid.
yeah, I did we did Me and
Shout
Ryan
out
did
to
a story
Darren,
for a
amazing guy.
yeah
Yeah,
for an anthology some years ago. So I just kept making it because it's what I love doing,
mm.
and but certainly when I was a kid, like I would go to a lot of art class or drawing. Oh, actually, not as so much as a kid.
Or
I
later
would
when
go
you
to like
kind of
zine
realize.
making workshops. Like
Mm.
zines, I think were really good in inspiring me to just keep making shit and like putting
Yeah,
it out there.
yeah, yeah. It's just an easy
Um,
way to, instead of like, printing 1,000 issues, you just sort of make it yourself.
yeah, yeah, totally. And so I think that's what I often will get kids to do as well is like make zines, and you don't have to be like um and you don't have to be in America. You don't have to be a crazy, awesome cartoonist to make a comic. Like you can
Yeah,
just,
you
a
can
lot of
just
kids
make.
just do it naturally already, and you can photocopy that stuff and like give it to your family and friends, and like, or go to a zine fair and sell it. At Scamp, there was these kids there who are making these incredible comics at such a young age.
Yeah, it's so good to hear.
Yeah, and it's so powerful. It's so cool. So if I can contribute to like a young kid who thinks they want to make comics, but like maybe doesn't think it's really a possibility, if I can like skew them towards be like, oh no, actually I can do it, even if it's like a simple zine, it
That's it.
that feels really cool.
Like you think about it, like we, especially when I was younger, like drawing and making comics all the time. I remember even when we used to go on school holidays and stuff, like that's what came with me, you know? All I wanted to do was just keep drawing and telling stories. And yeah, it's, I don't know, we didn't really have, I always wanted to be a storyteller, whether it was going to be animation or not. We didn't really have the resources especially in Perth, for that kind of support and where to like go and learn and stuff. So I'm so happy that these resources and availability is just so readily available for kiddos to learn. It's just so much better these days, I
Yes,
reckon.
it's really cool. It's like it's really cool that it's all there, and it's so much more accessible now.
It's also more
Um,
accepted, like we kind of were in this like weird,
yeah,
because what, how old are you?
I am 35 or
So
36.
yeah, yeah, so a couple of years older, so similar. We were sort of stuck in this little era where it was sort of shifting a tiny bit, and then you got Pixar coming out with like Toy Story, and
Yeah,
people were getting more like, oh, okay, so this is becoming more popular, but still had that like weird stigma, like that's not a real job, like I don't know, maybe that
yes,
was just
totally.
me. That was my experience.
I mean, I still encountered that in that course that I did at Enmore Design Centre. There was definitely, it was taught by working professionals in the illustration field.
Mm,
There was definitely some who still just didn't value cartooning
design even, like
or comics, yeah, as like as an artistic
it's a
form, as an
respectful job.
illustrative form,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah, crazy. If you think about it, and you're like, okay, so the movies that you watch, the books that you read, all the entertainment that you see on TV, like where do you think this all comes from? Yeah. So where do you want to see yourself going? Like you've still got a couple of things to wrap up on some projects that you're working on. Where do you want to take yourself? Do you want to work more on like self-published titles? Because you've got a few already under your belt, right?
Yeah, me and Ryan did a Fistful of Pain, and I mean, I self-published a whole bunch of shorter form stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
so over the years through like a book called Mishmash, and but that's well out of print. But but yeah, I did Past the Last Mountain with Paul Allor, Haven with Norm Harper. So I've actually got like 4 or 5 books now to my
Crazy.
name, which is
So cool.
cool. And it's really nice to kind of see them all there on the table.
Yeah.
Um, and now I'm like actually like, I can say that I'm a comic book artist, because for
Yeah.
years it's like you do one and you're like, oh yeah, but I'm also doing all this other work,
Yeah.
and that was like an anomaly, like it
Yeah.
was um, and I think comic artists often we have such imposter syndrome or artists
Yeah.
in general. But
Until we like make it big, and
well, even then, like probably it's just always going to be there.
yeah.
I remember seeing Eddie Candle talk at a graphic festival at the Sydney Opera House years ago when that was happening. So cool that that was happening. But I remember him talking about having imposter syndrome, and
Mm.
I was just like,
You?
"What the
Like,
fuck are you talking about?" Like, sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed
no,
to
you're
say.
allowed to swear. It's all good.
Yeah, and so I think that's always stuck in my mind is like just roll with it and just like kind of fake it till you make it a little bit.
But yeah, yeah. I don't know whether I've mentioned this in one of the other episodes, but I'm all about you literally just you say yes, this is happening for me down the track, whether it's like something that is not even organized at all, whether you've talked to like a publisher, whatever. But if I say to myself, yes, I would like to, I'm going to be a turtle artist one day, you know,
Yes.
and then you just keep telling yourself that, and be like, I'm gonna, and you don't have to do anything particular, but I'm not like a big, what do you call it, astrology girl or whatever, but I do firmly believe if you keep telling yourself and putting your best version of yourself forward, that does come back in many ways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I talk to my kids about this. It's like how you speak about yourself and what you present, even if you are not feeling it inside or whatever, it does like if you tell yourself something negative over and over and over again, you're going to
It's just
start
gonna
to
feel
believe that
true.
negative thing. If you tell
Yeah.
yourself something positive over and over again, you're going to start to believe that.
Hmm.
And there's like real power in that.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah. But yeah, I definitely have, I've got like a longer form kind of graphic novel project, that I have started writing and started drawing actually, that I really want to get to. And it's like it's like the project, you know, that keeps getting put on the back burner to do other projects. And so that's something that I really want to, and it's kind of like semi-autobio, or just it's taking inspiration from some aspects of my childhood, but also like being a parent now and seeing my kids as they're growing up and all of this. So that's
Yeah.
something I really want to, because I could see it just continuing to slip and slip and slip to the point that I just don't do it, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to try and get the wheels properly moving on that.
Yeah. Cool. Is that do you feel like you need to take a break from, I mean, obviously you're working on a title that is just like means so much to you, but do you also feel that burnout of not being able to create things just for you?
I like making comics. I think it still feels like it's for me. Um, I think I can't completely hit a monthly schedule. So I
Hmm.
think I do need like, and you know, because I'm doing like Godzilla, I was writing, drawing, and colors. On this, I'm
Yeah.
doing full color art. So it's I'm still feeling out like my ideal kind of comic making process. But I do think there's a balance between there's something really, even though the Godzilla story is an IP story. It's set in the Godzilla world and that's what it is. But it's such a weird little niche book. I
Yeah.
created all the characters for it apart from Godzilla and Baron. And it's set in my local town. So it very much felt like a creator owned book
For
in a
you.
weird
Yeah.
way. And that was really cool. And Turtles feels really great in a different way, but I do want to keep kind of exploring like what's my vision of the world? How do I tell my stories? What do I want to say? What do I want to talk about? All those things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a positive way to think.
Yeah. So a good mix of the two. And I also really love in comics, I love the collaborative nature of it. Like working with Ryan multiple times, working with Norm Harper, Paul Allor, like I really love working with writers and that pushes you into areas that you might not naturally go and to telling stories that you
Mm.
might not be like naturally gravitate towards or um what have you. So I want to do more of that as well.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Uh, Look. I'm sort of trying not to like think too negative, even coming just off that conversation saying like put your best foot forward. I do get stuck in this moment, like still obviously trying to juggle, looking after my kiddo and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
It's I'm still sort of get those moments where I'm like, I need something more to push me. Um, and maybe just because we just got back from holiday from Japan. So trying to get my mind frame back into it. But I think I'm just going to keep powering on with my creator owned book, which, it's my first time I'm writing, which can't sound very, I don't even know if I'm that good at it, but we'll find out when it comes out. But yeah,
yeah.
I think I need to just fill my cup a little bit because after that I finished up a project for a company before we left, and definitely needing to fill that, create a cup a little bit. That's sort of just for me, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt similarly about Godzilla. Like I hadn't written anything, certainly not anything published that size before I was doing it. So I was like nervous
Mm.
about it. But I also was like, well, there's no way I'm going to be worse at writing after I do it. I'm going to be better at writing. Like I'm going to learn something. I
And
tell this
isn't
to my
that the
kids all the
same for
time.
art as well? Like people get so bent on being like, well, I'm not ready yet, blah, blah, blah. But like, how would you know unless you create it, right?
Yeah. And then not ready yet attitude will just like keep you being not ready. Whereas just doing it, I mean, that's the advice, right? And that's like the zine mentality, I think, or making mini comics or zine is like
Yeah, just do it.
the best way to do it is to just start making stuff. Start small, do that, finish it, do something else.
Yeah, learn the
Finish that,
mechanics
do
of it.
something else. And honestly, I think that's why, like, if I look at my trajectory or any momentum I have as a comic artist, it's because like I've done that. I did something with someone and then I
Mm.
finished that and there are parts of it that I'm not happy with, but I moved on to the next thing and I did that. And that kind of led into the next thing. And, it's
Oh
just how
yeah.
it goes.
That's probably, I'd say the advice you probably want to just lend to people is just keep moving forward. Like you get stuck in these little bad mojo moments, like I just said, but you keep the momentum going, then that little fire and spark is just gonna stay. It's gonna stick around. It will stick around.
Yeah.
Just just won't burn as brightly for a little while, and that's totally fine. Yeah. So how'd you get? I'm chopping and changing between conversation here, but I wanted to ask, like, how did you first initially meet up with the? Because I think this would be quite beneficial to a lot of the listeners. Um, Getting in contact with editors at IDW or whatever, or is that just purely from your, like you said, your momentum of putting out so much work and then getting noticed?
Yeah. So I think I feel bad because it's a pretty shitty answer. So Jasmine Joyner, who was an editor at the time, emailed me just out of the blue about pitching an idea for the Godzilla Rivals series. And I realized I never asked Jasmine how they discovered my work, and I should have done that. I remember when I got the email, I thought it was a scam for a while. Like I
You're
was
like,
like,
excuse me.
I was like, what? And also because it wasn't just to draw something, it was to write and draw
Yeah.
something. Um, and so I don't know, like I
So you would
do
have
think,
obviously seen some of the stuff that you've written and produced yourself, obviously.
yes. Well, I think that they had seen my work online, just a lot of the X-Men drawings I was doing at the time, and were getting around, and so I think it was a mix of that, and then probably just looking into my catalog and seeing, oh, this person's done all ages graphic novel, they've done a fantasy adventure series, they've got a couple of credits to their name, they have an interesting style,
Hmm.
and the Godzilla Rival series was really cool because it was an anthology series. So every issue was 40 pages and done by a different creator or group of creators, right? So it was very kind of great space to explore different artistic takes on Godzilla and all
Yeah.
that. And so, uh, but I just put together like a pitch for Godzilla Skate or Die. And for that, I was very much like, it was inspired by a skate park that I skate at
Mhm.
that the council had wanted to demolish, and the community had rallied around it and had saved it and got it legitimized as like a proper skating spot. And even now they went so far as to get a grant to build a permanent skate park in that space. So
That's
I was
cool.
in all of that at the time, and I was just like, oh, this is like the perfect ground for like a Godzilla story, right? This
Yeah.
big faceless entity coming to stomp on this community skating thing, which is like, it's Godzilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I just kind of pitched them that idea as a paragraph. Um, and they liked it. Some time went by. They said it wasn't really a fit for the Rival series. But would I like to pitch it as its own miniseries? And so I was like, hell yeah. And I did, I expanded that paragraph into like a full story outline, like just
Hmm.
a single page full story outline. But, and I did like 2 or 3 pieces of art to go with it, like the main characters
Yeah. Like a little
and
mini package.
A Godzilla drawing. And that seemed to be enough, to get through. But I
Oh
think
yeah.
also like at the time, and still currently, like, skating is really popular in Japan. And it's
Yeah.
been having a
Huge.
boom ever since the first time skating was in the Olympics was at the Tokyo Olympics, you know? So I think there's a big appreciation for skate culture in Japan at the moment. So I think someone at Toho, honestly, I think someone at Toho is a skating fan, and they were like, that project sounds cool. Make that one happen.
It is. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. But
Oh, that's probably just going back to what we were just saying though. Like you're just continuously creating and putting ideas forward and just obviously paid back to you.
well, I do also think like with so I knew of Godzilla absolutely, but wasn't like a huge Godzilla fan. So
Mhm.
I think I was able to not be too precious with it,
Yeah.
or like I didn't feel like the story had to be a very specific thing. You know, I think if like someone offered me an X-Men gig, I would have a lot more attachment to that franchise. So I would feel really a lot of pressure or
Yeah.
something. Whereas with the Godzilla, I was just like, even before I dived into Godzilla research, like I'm a huge Godzilla fan now, but the story and the opportunity to me was, okay, what can I bring to this? Like I don't want to do just a Godzilla story, right? Just a standard Godzilla story. It's like they've approached me. What can I bring to this that might be different from what other people are doing? What am I passionate about? If you're going to make a comic, like it's a shit ton of work. Like what do I want to draw? And I'm obsessed with skating stuff and trying to put
Yeah.
it into everything that I do. So I just went with that, and I do think it's like a testament to like show like find your voice, or try and tell stories about the things you're interested in, because that passion will kind of come through the work.
Be more natural, right? Won't seem forced or anything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
No, that's epic, dude. That and well done on staying true to yourself too, because I feel like a lot of people in this industry in particular do lose themselves a little bit. So yeah, well
Yeah,
done.
I think there's something freeing about like having a style that is like not that is a bit left or like off center,
What's the word
because
that you would use? Like westernized, like the um, a golden age kind of style. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, like I think there's a lot of comic fans who have a lot of expectations about what a comic should be.
mm,
And some of those fans bounce off my work immediately just from a visual point of view. And that's totally fine. Like
yeah,
everyone's entitled to their opinions. But like it's also a bit freeing, because it's like I don't have to try and be that thing.
yeah,
I can just try and be my thing. And people are gonna like, I look at like artists like Tradmore, or
mm,
Andrew McLean, Becky Cloonan, like Taito Matsumoto, like these artists, these are the ones that I'm more and more attracted to these days, because there's something in their work that you can't confuse with anyone
yeah.
else.
It's like a signature,
It's
right?
like, yeah. And that's really cool. That's really aspirational. Um, and it's, yeah, something, yeah, I aspire to.
Yeah. I've always struggled to understand why people like. There's a lot of like Jim Lee fanboys and stuff, which is totally fine. Jim Lee is an incredible artist, but what's the point in copying him? Like copy to learn, but try not to be him.
Yeah.
It's like you just create? Oh, get my artwork. It's just I don't know, waste of time to me. And I did that when I was younger. I was trying to copy too much, and then realized that I was just wasting my time. And now people
Same.
come to you because of the fact that you've got this like thumbprint almost, you know?
Yeah. And that is a part of the journey. Like I definitely, speaking about Jim Muffwood earlier, I went through a whole many years of just drawing exactly like him.
Yeah.
Chris Pacello, like that's my be all end all like mainstream artist. Like
Yeah.
and I spent years trying to draw like him as well, you know. So part of that you do have to go through that. That is part of the journey of drawing. And I often get people asking me and younger artists asking me about like, oh, how do you figure out like your style? And it's such a I hate having to answer that question. I don't hate having to answer it, but like it's an impossible question to answer because I honestly, it's a mix of like,
I get it.
it's years and years and years of just like making marks on paper. And then like, it's also, how do you hide like the bad, like shit in your work that you don't like, or like how do you hide your mistakes? Or like style is that as well. Like style is all these different things that mash up against each other and
it's
so,
a
yeah, it's really tricky
maturity thing. Maturity thing for sure. And we discuss this a lot on a few of these episodes about like people just that's what they're so hell-bent focused on. It's like stop, just create, enjoy it, learn from it. You know, it's hard to explain to them. And usually it just comes with age, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Time. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting close to the hour mark now.
Oh yeah, nice. It's flown by.
I know, it's crazy, hey? The conversations when they're just like they just flow on. It's just it's great. And God, it always rejuvenates me a little bit when I've just been stuck inside the house because I do this full time, freelance stuff. So yeah, it's nice to be able to chat properly to someone about.
Yeah. Well, that's what, like doing Scamp on the weekend, that's my last kind of show of the year, which I'm excited about because it's been a busy year.
Oh, God,
but I do, and I'm like excited to just have full weekends back of not, actually of just working. But but I do make an effort to go to these shows because it's great to like to catch up and to just talk shit and
that people that get you right.
Yeah, all of that stuff. It's important because otherwise we are just sitting in our studios or our offices, not talking to anyone, going a little bit crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
That's also what I love about shows like yours, about the Ink X Scribes YouTube show that some friends of mine do. Like there's all these really great YouTube channels of artists just chatting now about work or about their own work. And that's a lifesaver, I think, for me.
And people realizing that we all kind of deal with the same sort of crud in this industry, you know, and keeping each other company through the craziness.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Okay. I didn't get to put any tone stuff on mine, but
I can't see yours because of how my camera is.
Right. Well, you can have a look.
I'm gonna have to
after.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back at it later, but I'm really excited to look at it.
Yeah, I'll show you once we stop recording.
Oh yeah,
but, I'm just putting on some slime now, make them a little bit gross.
Nice. I'm glad we were able to figure out a way around the technical difficulties of my old MacBook.
and that's the thing as well. Like people trying to do this podcast, but I mean, I'm an artist. I'm no IT tech. When half the stuff fails on me, I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't do this professionally. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, that's me. I think that'll do me. Anyway.
Yeah.
Now let me have
Mine needs a fair bit more work, but
no, that looks cool.
Yeah. I
It's
can't
like,
decide whether I'm gonna. We've got this robot character from the comic
yeah,
who I drew rollerblades on in the comic. So this character has rollerblades, so that's part of my rollerblade agenda. But
yeah, cool. Yeah,
but
gotta add it in somewhere.
I can't decide whether I'm going to do black behind this character, like spot that in black, or here to pop Donnie out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do like if you have screen tone, that would look cool. Or
No,
you
I
could do
don't.
like
I don't. But
you could do a gradient of some sort if it like really dark at the top and then it will slowly fade out towards the bottom.
yeah, true.
Then it will still
Yeah,
pop
I
and it
need
won't
to.
be
I
so
really want to start messing around with screen tone.
I have to send
My
you some. I
mum's
got a
gone
whole
to
bunch.
Japan, so I'm going to get some.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll,
I
I'll,
saw
I'll
your post.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
I was
only
like,
reason I go. It's like
Mom, when you're in
$1,000
Japan,
return.
I need you to get this.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll send you the store that's the best one in
Oh,
Shinjuku,
yeah,
which is
great.
great. Sakata is great. It's like seven floors of just art supplies
No.
of whatever you can think of. It's just crazy. It felt like home, which was nice. Anyway. Okay. Well, thank you, Louie. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been, like I said, been really looking forward to catching up because we only really met each other face to face properly in Sydney earlier this year.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll have to meet up again when I get back over there because Sydney's sort of my only one that I'm going to be doing for the
Yeah,
meantime.
definitely. And hopefully I'll be over for PCAF one of these years.
Yeah, it's like if anything, that's one of the best indie comic shows, like zines and alike. So I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth and
It's
Campbell just
definitely
done a
on my
great job.
agenda.
Yeah. Anyway.
But
Okay.
yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. And yeah, if you ever want to jump on again and hang out, just let me know because I'm sure people would like an update where you're at down the track.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you again. And thank you everybody for tuning in. And yeah, other than that, keep drawing and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.